Now, I've made sometimes the same mistake multiple times, but that's okay because eventually through trial and error, I don't make those mistakes anymore. Failure, in my opinion, failure is 100% necessary for greatness. To achieve greatness, to have that success, you've got to fail as many times as possible. You got to remember, the best revenge is no revenge. Doing things for anybody else's opinions or, to try to please anybody else or to try to get one over on somebody else, it's really, really scary, and I know that. I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to feel like there's no hope. I understand that, but you need to face that. If you want to make something incredible happen, if you want to make big things happen, if you really want to make a difference, then you need to do that. You have to go to a different focus. The focus has to be so heightened that very few people even understand that.
But they have it in them. They have it in them to go there. But you have to go to a place of fear, of suffering, of pain, of doubt. They say you don't meet your true self until you're exhausted, because comfort hides the truth, but exhaustion drags it into the light. And what you find there, it's everything you've been avoiding, but it's you, the real you, the one stripped of ego. Nowhere else to run, nowhere else to be except in the moment. And this is the inflection point. When the demons show up, are you the one who can stare darkness in the face and say, I hear you, but you don't get to decide? Or do you fold? Because when everything inside you screams quit, and you take one more rep, one more step, that's the real you. And that's where greatness lives. Are you the best footballer in the world right now? I think so, yes. In my mind, I'm always the best. I don't care what the people thinking, what they say. In my mind, not just this year, but always, I'm always the best. I'm always going to say that. I knew it was going to happen. I knew I was going to get here. They didn't. It was a lot of stressful years, you know what I mean? A lot of tough times. But I proved them wrong. I proved myself right. You need to bet on your strengths and don't give a about what you suck at. If you want this, if you want bling bling, if you want to buy the jets, if you want to do work. When I look around, I'd always learn something, and that is to be always yourself and to express yourself, to have faith in yourself. Do not go out and look for a successful personality and duplicate him. I feel I still have room to improve. I still set goals for myself to strive for. I'm never complacent with what I've achieved. Even though it's been very successful for me, I still feel I have a lot to prove. Michael shakes the finger. Men Graham in his low teens looked around and he looked at the people he admired and he said, I want to be admired. So why don't I just behave like them? And they found there was nothing impossible about behaving like them. If you're doing anything interesting in the world, you're going to have critics. If you absolutely can't tolerate critics, then don't do anything new or interesting. I would just say go stand on the street corner and watch in a crowded urban area and watch all the people walk by and think about what they're thinking about. I bet you none of those people are thinking about you. After years of repetitive work, you will often need to dig hard to find your passions, redefine your dreams, and revive hobbies that you let atrophy to near extinction. You think someone's going to come to you and give you a highlighted version script on how to live your life? And if that was the case, would you even go that way? How boring is that? It's the unknown about to be that gets me up in the morning. It's always a challenge. And as soon as a challenge is lost, guys, your will is dead. There's no reason to get up in the morning. There are a million reasons why not. But there's one great reason why. Because before it was luck, it was a belief. And every day, with no one watching at 5 in the morning by myself, I trained it because I believed in it. Then I mastered it. No, I remastered in hopes that one day my trained ability collided with an opportunity to show it all. That's what luck is. That's what success is. Start to finish. A blueprint that every single module inside of it you create, you own. Nothing subjective in there. It's all you. You don't just live in light. You change it. You shape it. You make your mark upon it. 10 years from now, you will surely become someone. The big question is, who? What are you becoming? What do you want to do economically? Where do you want to go? What do you want to be? What would you like to have? What would you like to share? How far would you like to go? Those are some major questions to ask. And if you go to work on it now, sure enough, in a very short period of time, you can take on a new direction to become the kind of person you want to be. Look, bro, it's hard. You're going to have days where you don't want to do anything. You're going to have days where getting out of bed is the hardest thing you ever did in your life. You got to get the up and you got to get in the fight. Even if you have to crawl through it, you've got to get up and do it. Because the minute you lay down, that's got you forever, bro. And you can't get out of it. There will be a time in your life when you're pursuing that dream, that goal, that life's ambition. There will be a moment when life will throw everything it can at you, and it will give you every valid reason to quit, every reason to give up on it. It's too ambitious. Just stop. Leave this behind. Get back to normal life. And that's the thing. The reasons will be extremely valid, and you'll say that makes sense. But what I want to ask you is this. What if you didn't quit? What allows us to endure? What allows us to keep going? Well, quitting is a mental thing, not a physical thing. The reason we quit is rarely because our body quits. Our mind quits. Man, just don't sink the ship right now. Just keep your head above water. Maintain and try to hang on. Life's going to be weird for you. You're going to experience some pain, but eventually, if you stick it out and do something big, we're all going to read about it. We're all going to find out about your story because you people like you don't know how to stop. Yeah, it's crazy to sometimes think like, I'm going to see what happens when I decide that I am qualified. What happens when I decide for myself that I'm going to do something different? My brain can feel a certain way, but it's not going to choose how I behave all the time. Nobody's the expert at the beginning of their journey. The hardest thing to do is to start on any journey because that's where the highest amount of struggle is. That's where our experience and our momentum and our success is at its lowest. Working hard doesn't make progress is one of the biggest farces that exists in humanity. Because at the end of the day, whatever you amount to isn't going to matter anyways, right? And so if there's anything that's eternal for us, at least as individuals, it's going to be who we become in the process. And so one of my favorite quotes is the work works on you more than you work on it. And so if you want to be the best in the world at something, you do the work to become the best in the world and the work's on you. You don't have as much time as you think you have. So if you really want to do something great, wake up. Most people are underestimating the amount of effort that is going to take to get the life they want. When the going gets tough, quitting should never be an option. In every project, there's escape hatches. And if you don't both close when the going gets tough, boom, away you go. But don't quit because you're tired of paying the price. If you pay the price, the reward is going to be that much sweeter. What if despite the valid reasons that were thrown at you by family, by friends, by life, despite the reasons that were thrown at you, what if you pushed through them? What if you actually got to the other side of those valid challenges, of those reasons to quit? What if you could stand on the other side of that mountain, look at the next generation, your kids, your community, your friends, and say, look at what I overcame? You can too. What kind of impact and change can you have if you don't quit? We all have days where we don't feel like doing what we need to do. We all have days we struggle. We all have days we dread getting out of bed. And when you feel yourself feeling this way, I want you to think about what the monster is. We are not doing something that needs to be done. That's the monster. The longer we allow that monster to live in our brains and our minds, the bigger and stronger it gets. You will live a life of anxiety, of fear, of confusion, of frustration if you don't make a habit of slaying the monster. Showing up is none of the battle. People want to get a medal for doing the easy things. People show up every single day. People show up every single day and are dealing with circumstances that are beyond your imagination. They still show up. If you think showing up is winning, you've already lost the battle. You're supposed to show up. You guys are supposed to practice or you're supposed to get results. Even if you're not where you want to be in life and you're grinding and you're on that hustle, grind, but also appreciate it. Appreciate that hustle. Appreciate this thing. Appreciate this beautiful, chaotic, unknown existence you're in. You don't know what is going to happen. It's open-ended. It's a complete open loop experience. You don't know what is coming next, and you're just trying to enjoy the ride. Because I promise you, if you give up, you're going to sit by yourself in a room and wonder what if. Don't let that sentence end with, what if I had just stuck with you? What if I hadn't given up so quickly? I want that sentence to say, what if I could do more? What if that blizzard was just the first step? What if that mountain was the first of many mountains for me to climb? That's the story I want you to tell. Do the first way to get focus is to find purpose. The way to find purpose is you must identify what it is that you have to be purposeful in. Feed what I want to do. Feed where I want to go. Starve the negativity. Starve the destructive behavior. It'll die. What I feed grows. The greatest tool you and I have as people, and this is what makes us unique beyond every other living being, entity that has a heartbeat on this planet. Every other animal, I don't care what's out there, that's a living organism. What makes you and I unique is whatever we put our time and our focus into grows. Who do you need to become to embody a mindset of confidence, of strength, of optimism, growth, tenacity, the kind of person who makes lemons into lemonade, right? For me, my single word is captain. I'm the captain then. And when I conjure the vision of what it means to be the captain of my ship, I embody a mindset that says, irrespective of the size of the swells, irrespective of the winds that blows and don't, I am the captain of this ship. Quit running away from the gift. Your gift will make room for you. Stop trying to be something you ain't gifted at. Listen to me. All of you have this gift. Identify it. It's the thing that you do the absolute best with the least amount of effort. That's what you should be doing. You're wasting your time pursuing your passion. We feed, we'll build on what we starve, we'll die. Time and focus are the most true valuable tools we have as people. Identify your God-given gift and go get your life. Quit tripping because you don't have what a group of people told you need to be successful. When things go wrong, they always seem to happen at once, and they just compound on top of each other. And it's pretty easy sometimes to feel beaten when you're faced with all those issues. If you had 6 months to live, what would you do differently? Would you have the same job? Would you be worried about things that you're worried about right now? Would you have the same relationships? Would you have the same people in your life? Most people are staying at jobs and working things or even marriage or relationships because they fear change. Can I do better? Can I get a better opportunity? Will somebody hire me? Will somebody date me? Will somebody marry me? Will somebody want my kids that I had? That's a fear. And people don't want to make change because they've already told themselves they can't do it. And when you make adjustments, when you stop yourself first, really the same. Because let somebody else tell you what you cannot do. But in the process of that, prepare for success. In other words, are you willing to put time in your next move? Stop beating yourself up and stop judging yourself. We all go through chapters, right? Like sometimes you're super in love with your partner and like that's all you can obsess about, you know? Other times you're, super into your profession because you got a new initiative. I think this comes down to judgment. Stop beating yourself up. There is not even a close framework for what's right. Everyone's balance is massively individual. And more importantly, balance ebbs and flows forever. It's that we are not just blessed, we are privileged. We are truly privileged. There are not many people around this planet who are this lucky. Yet majority of us chooses to live in mediocrity. And I've done that too. If we are so privileged to be this rich and we're not comparing ourselves to neighbors, we're comparing ourselves to the neighbors far, far away on other continents, then why do we choose mediocrity? It's in our hands to actually do something, and we have to do something if we want to continue living on this beautiful planet. To realize that you really can depend on yourself. You, of course, have to have many great people around you, but I knew that if it was going to happen for me, I had to keep moving forward. And maybe that was a stumble. Maybe it was a crawl. Maybe it was just barely trying to put one thing in front of the other during that time. But I kept pushing forward. I kept moving forward. And I think that's one of the lessons I still carry forward with me till this day. When I see things getting tough or when I see things that seem insurmountable to other people, I know we just have to stay the course. We have to stay focused and we keep putting one foot in front of the other. The key is to keep moving. And that's something that I think really was that turning point for me. If you actually make pretend nobody else lives on Earth, nothing is scary. I think people got caught. I think they just get caught that everybody's in this framework of other people's opinions. Like, It's how we're raised. This is why I put out so much content. Maybe today is the day that I say it a different way that makes people realize your mom and your girlfriend and your boyfriend and your uncle and definitely anonymous people on social media and Louis and Gary's opinions actually don't matter. Wow. The liberation to then actually do. And now you're doing full throttle because if whether you win or lose, it doesn't matter. I have 24 hours in the day. I try to take advantage of every hour. And I have certain rules that I initially tell people on a regular basis. If you want to start living a successful life, start locking in to a consistent time that you should get up every day. Don't let it deviate. If you say get up at 8, don't hit the other snores and get up at 8:30. I get up at 4:35. That's just my time. I'm not a happy guy getting up, but that's a goal I set. And I'm going to just tell you this honestly. If you're about to make a change in your life and you feel uncomfortable, that's the best feeling you can have. Because for the first time in your life, you're making a decision that's going to be best for you and not what somebody told what you could do. And that's when all bets are off, man, because you about to enter some uncharted waters that's going to force you to challenge yourself to be perfect in so many ways. And shooting for perfection is all good. You don't shoot for average because you're not going to hit all the time. If you shoot for perfection and you hit good or great, you winning. So what I'm trying to say is that sometimes when we think that we don't know the solution, we don't know the decision, it is not because we don't know. In my 42 years, I've learned that we always, deep inside, know the truth, but we're just so scared to face it. There's a famous formula, which I'm sure you've heard of, E plus R equals O, where E is the event, something happens to you, R is your reaction, and O is the outcome. And the only thing that matters is your reaction to whatever comes up, because in life and business, stuff's going to come up at some point. You just don't know what it is. And it's all about your reaction, how you deal with that. So to me, the biggest thing is the humility was such a factor. I didn't realize how big of a deal that was, how much that worked for me. It's like, I don't believe I'm as great as I know I am. Like, my logical side knows that I'm up to something, but I just don't internalize it. I won't let it penetrate my soul. I think I have the ability to be the biggest deal, but I will never believe, and I believe anyone can change. It's never too late to change. And you can actually use the things in your past, use the darkness you can redeem it. Every experience that comes your way is a tool. When we lost our home and we had to go live with my grandparents, I understood that these are just material things that doesn't define you. It doesn't make you. So when you get these challenges, when you have these things that come up in your life, continue to move forward. Baby steps. Baby steps. Become intentional about what it is that you're going to do. Nobody in your family may have done that. Nobody in your community, your city, your country may have done that. But if that's what's been put here for you, take it in baby steps. Begin to see how that you're going to move forward. It's exactly what I did once I came and understood my purpose and I understood what it is that I was supposed to be doing. I sat down and created a plan as to how I was going to go about deploying that. And I think that's what you really have to do. And take it in baby steps. Don't try to do the whole thing at once. Sit it down, look at it, break it down, rebuild it, put it back together, and then assign time frames to everything that you want to accomplish and break it down in phases, and then focus everything you have on that phase. We obsess about this idea about every one of us has a talent. But the truth is that we are multi-talented. And if I compare myself facet to facet to facet, there is always someone who has different energy, who's better at this, who's better at that. But what makes me valuable is the combination of what I have. I can't compare myself. In fact, if I compare myself, that's the surest way to depression. I promise you want to. When you don't know where you're going in life, do not look 4 years down the line. Do not look 2 years or a year. You look next week, next month. You keep your goals short. And that way, as you accomplish those goals, then you can start piling up little trophies or little moments to know that you're actually accomplishing something. You're actually climbing the steps to success. Where people make the mistake in their goals with a goal that doesn't allow them to qualify success quick enough. And so I always tell people, shorten your goal, shorten your window. And that's how you find your voice. You cannot find your voice if if you come to Hollywood to be a star, but if you come here just to be a star in entertainment, or you going to college and you trying to graduate in 4 years and what you're going to do, it confuses people. That's why a lot of today's millennials say they see short-term success as a faster way of finding their voice versus the college degree. Those with the greatest hope have the greatest influence. And I love that. Like, there are two kinds of people in the world. There are people in the world that think the world is getting better, and there are people that think the world is getting worse. Who do you want to hang out with? And then you assign the time frame. I think the time frames, the timelines are the critical piece to it, because that's where so many people go from just having a hobby or a dream. And I'm sure many people understand that dreams are tough because without a time frame, a timeline, they may just stay dreams. When you assign a time frame and a plan of action to it, it can become a goal, and then it can become attainable. And I think that's what you have to do and then makes it very present. Then you have your work cut out for you. You know what you need to do, and now it's just about doing it. Let's come out of this leaning into humility and gratitude, and that will be the springboard for everything. You know, just be grateful, like grateful for the time you're spending with family now, grateful for the innovation time, the thinking time, gratitude and humility. As a matter of conscious experience, the reality of your life is always now. And I think that this is a liberating truth about the nature of your human mind. Probably nothing more important to understand about your mind than that if you want to be happy in this world, the past is a memory. It's a thought arising in the present. The future is merely anticipated. It is another thought arising now. What we truly have is this moment. At the end of the day, everything that we do starts and ends with our attitude. How we perform, how we function, how we get along with others, it all starts with attitude. Now, the beautiful thing about attitude is there's only one person that gets to decide our attitude. Overcoming the negative conversation, that inner dialogue that's going on all the time. All the time. Even when you don't want it to be there, you can't stop yourself right now from thinking you can't do it. It's going on. And so learning how to empower yourself, part of doing that is standing up to yourself. You got to stand up inside yourself sometimes and say, shut up. That's why you got to learn to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to stand up inside yourself, working on yourself, watching that inner dialogue. It will determine the quality of your life. Playing small does not only affect you. Why do you play small? Why do you choose to remain silent when you know you were meant to speak up? If you can just keep believing when nothing in you was working, when all your external forces have given way, if you can just manage to somehow keep hoping, just hope. You ain't really got to believe. All you got to do is hope. Whoever you are, whatever you're doing, do it with everything that you have. Develop the habit of giving more than what you're paid for. Develop the habit of setting standards that others will be measured by. Someone said, do not go where the path may lead, but go where there's no path and leave a trail. There are too many of us that are waiting for white situations to produce. What I'm asking you is, yeah, you went through a hard season, and yeah, another one might be up ahead, but what are you producing in the middle? I would rather you set your sights not on the moon, but on the stars, because in the process of shooting for the stars, you will hit the moon, guaranteed. But in the process of shooting for the moon, you might completely miss it and hit nothing. The real message is we all started from no. We all had bull jobs. We all felt like losers. But through time and effort, you build a stronger human. You build a stronger body. You build a stronger mind. You build accomplishments and will and momentum. And then you look back and you go, hey man, I'm not washing tables anymore. But I think we can all agree we all want more. We have dreams. We have goals. We ask first, More what? And that starts, I think, by answering that question. What do I value the most? And it goes, I wish for the world to realize all of their dreams so that they can realize they don't make them complete. And he's talking about that most people's dreams are very external, like champions, like they want to win a medal, they win a trophy, want a nice car and all this stuff. Then you get it. But when you have everything, you realize this isn't what I wanted. I don't feel complete right now. Constantly rewrite your book every day of your life. These are conversations I have with myself, and I say it everywhere I go. The most important conversation when you have with yourself, you live with it every single day. But most of our conversations are not the right ones. But failure is the most information-rich data stream on planet Earth. But to accurately assess the data and figure out what it's telling you about why you failed to some extent or why it was more inefficient than it needs to be, you have to be willing to stare nakedly at your own inadequacies. Take responsibility for the outcome, not make it somebody else's fault, or the economy's fault, or whatever any external force. You're making it an external problem. You're never going to be able to learn the lesson you need to learn in order to improve your behavior so that you can then execute better and make more progress moving forward. Set higher standards in your fitness, in your ability to orate, to speak. Enough with setting low standards and hitting those standards and being proud of yourself. Man, let's get to it. Stop saying, I've got to wait for good things to happen to me. And I said, I'm going to grind. I'm going to fight. I'm going to work. I'm going to prep toward that. If you want to find peace with yourself, self-standing, self-knowledge, self-esteem, all of these things are going to be found only through sacrifice, getting uncomfortable, reevaluating what your normal is, and putting yourself in situations that you don't want to do. Yeah, the desire to change, to change those circumstances, whatever it might be. As long as you have to have that desire of the world to change those circumstances. That's your start right there. Have the world to desire to change it. There's your start in March. Sometimes life will happen to you and you won't have time to say no. You won't have time to think that you can't do it. The only time you will have is to act, to take the leap of faith and believe that everything is going to be all right. Take that leap of faith, trust yourself, and know within yourself that everything's going to be all right.